So Simple tutorial. Good morning students, welcome to SST So Simple tutorial. In the previous class, we had discussed about the disease rinderpest and saw how it adversely affected the lives of the Africans. Today, we will discuss a new topic, indentured labor migration from India. Dear students, have you heard this word before? Just recall Baba Ramchandra that we read in the non-cooperation movement in the countryside. He had been to Fiji as indentured labor. So let us begin. What is the dictionary meaning of indentured? Indenture means bound by contract or required by contract to work for another for a certain period of time. Let us see what a book says on indentured labor. Look at the new words. A bonded labor under contract to work for an employer for a specific amount of time to pay off his passage to a new country or home. So it was basically a system of bonded labor which had started after the abolition of slavery. In this system, a contract was signed between the employer and the worker. The duration of work used to be clearly specified in the contract. In the 19th century, most of the laborers who went from India belonged to the present-day regions of eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, central India and the dry districts of Tamil Nadu. They were hired under contract and were promised a return travel to India after they had worked for 5 years in their plantations. Now the question is, why did they go? Students, in the mid-19th century, the cottage industries had declined. Land rents rose. Lands were cleared for mines and plantations. All these affected the lives of poor in these regions. They were unable to pay their rents. They became deeply indebted. There was widespread poverty. So to escape from all these problems, they agreed to become indentured labor. The next question is, where did they go? So the main destinations of the Indian laborers were the Caribbean islands, Mauritius and Fiji. Caribbean island means mainly Trinidad, Guyana and Suriname. The Tamil laborers mainly went to Ceylon and Malaya. Today Sri Lanka was then called Ceylon. I hope you can connect now to the origin of Indian Tamils referred to in chapter 1 Power Sharing of Political Science textbook. The example of indentured labor migration from India also illustrates the two-sided nature of the 19th century world. 1. It was a world of higher incomes for some and poverty for others. Technological advances in some areas and new forms of coercion in others. Now, how they were recruited? The laborers were recruited through the agents kept by the employer on commission. These agents used to contact the workers who used to explain them the work, wages, working conditions, etc. In order to lure workers, agents sometimes provided false information about final destinations, about modes of travel, about the nature of work and living as well as working conditions. Often, immigrants were not even told that they were to go on a long sea voyage. So, before signing the contract, immigrants got convinced that everything was rosy in the new place. Their misery was going to end and their life would change. But the truth was revealed only when they arrived at the plantations. They used to find things contrary to what they had imagined. They found living conditions bad and working conditions harsh. They had almost no legal rights. They were treated as virtual slave labor. If they tried to escape and unfortunately caught, they faced severe punishment. You can see source A given in the book, the testimony of an indentured labor. This is an extract from the testimony of Ram Narayan Tiwari, an indentured labor who spent 10 years on Demerara in the early 19th century. Demerara is a region which is a part of Guyana which lies in the north coast of South America. In spite of my best efforts, I could not properly do the works that were allotted to me. In a few days, I got my hands bruised all over and I could not go to work for a week, for which I was prosecuted and sent to jail for 14 days. New immigrants find the tasks allotted to them extremely heavy and cannot complete them in a day. Deductions are also made for wages if the work is considered to have been done unsatisfactorily. Many people cannot therefore earn their full wages and are punished in various ways. In fact, the laborers have to spend their period of indentured in great trouble. So you can see how these workers were treated. They were beaten, they were jailed, they even did not get their full wages. I hope this testimony of Ram Narayan is enough to understand actual lives of the indentured laborers. That is why, dear students, 19th century indenture has been described as a new system of slavery. Okay. Dear students, even when the lives are difficult, people find ways of survival. So did the laborers. Initially, the indentured laborers found it difficult to adjust to the harsh living conditions of the plantations, but very soon they discovered new ways of survival. They developed their own ways of entertainment. Since laborers from different cultural backgrounds worked and lived together, their culture intermingled and produced a new culture. Students, this fusion of culture is a part of making of the global world, where things from different places get mixed. They lose their original characteristics and become something entirely new. You all must have heard about Muharram. In Trinidad and even Tobago, this occasion is commemorated every year by the Muslims there as Hosay. In fact, Muharram was taken to Trinidad by the indentured laborers from India when they went there to work in sugar plantations. The word Hosay is actually derived from the word Hussein. They take out processions there, but the beauty of Hosay is that it is joined by workers of all races and religions and has been accepted as part of the national culture. The music of the Caribbean also reflects the multicultural influences that shaped the Caribbean. Chutney music is one such Indo-Caribbean music form which is popular in Trinidad and Guyana. Similarly, the protest religion of Rastafarianism is also said to reflect social and cultural links with Indian migrants to the Caribbean. Now let us see, where did these laborers go after their contract ended? Most of them came back, but some indentured workers opted to make Caribbean their home. Of those who came back to India, some returned to the Caribbean again after a short spell here. As a result, there are a large community of people of Indian origin in these countries. Have you heard the name of V.S. Nepal? He is one such person. He had won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2001. Similarly, there are a number of famous West Indies cricketers like Sunil Narayan, Ravi Rampal, Shiv Narayan Chandrapal, Ram Naresh Sarwan, etc. Take notice of their names. They sound Indian names. Why this is so? The answer is simple. They are descendants of the migrated indentured labor from India. From the 1900s, Indian nationalist leaders like Gokhale and Madan Mohan Malviya began opposing the system of indentured labor migration as abusive and cruel. So, this was abolished in 1921. With this, let us wind up our class today. I hope you have understood the topic properly. Time for probable questions now. 1. What was indentured labor system? What led to its growth? 2. What were the major regions in India from which the indentured labor was procured? 3. What were the major destinations of the indentured labor from India? Read your textbook now and prepare answer to these questions. In the next class, we will cover the next topic, Indian trade, colonialism and the global system. Till then, keep reading and have a nice time. Thank you.